webinar will be recorded, so it will be available to you to watch again if you want to. But also just want to let you know that we are recording it. Also, for those of you that are watching, at the top of your screen, you should, if you roll your mouse between the presentation and the pictures of the organizers, you should be able to, there's like a little 2 lines, you can make that smaller or actually close the organizers out completely so you can't see them, and then you'll be able to see the screen a little bit bigger. And then also if you roll your mouse over to the right hand side of your screen on the presentation, there's a little plus arrow, a little plus button and a minus button. If you tap on those, you'll be able to make the presentation a little bigger. I know when Dan and Cindy are presenting in a little while, that may be, you may want to do that so you can see things a little more clearly. All right, so again, thanks for coming, and I'm going to start off with a very quick little PowerPoint presentation as an overview, and then we're going to hand it over to Dan and Cindy to do a very high-level demonstration of the JetTrac Field Service Automation solution, specifically for electrical contractors. Okay, so you should see my screen. Yep, I'm just going to give a little bit of a background on ProTechnology and who we are. We are a software company headquartered out of the Los Angeles area with offices, people, and partners around the country and around the world. We're known as document automation specialists. And what does that mean? Well, it means we're experts in electronic forms and documents and the automation and improving of the efficiency of the processes around those documents. To deliver solutions to our customers, we've developed a range of our own software called JetTrac. We also sometimes use best of breed technologies when necessary. And we have over 25 years of experience helping contractors run their business. Now, a lot of our customers tell us that before they came to us, they were using paper, and that really was a nightmare of efficiencies in both the office and in the field. And I'm sure some of you out there that are using paper can relate to this a little. And the efficiencies that they've told us about, both with paper solutions and with a lot of them that are running other systems, is that scheduling and dispatching was often a big issue, and knowing where their field techs were can be a bit of a problem. The fact that the field techs have to drive into the office every morning and drive back every afternoon to pick up and drop off paperwork, that was very inefficient. And when the field techs were out in the field, they'd often have to write data into multiple places, even if it was the same data like the customer's name or the facility number. And we knew that information, and that's really also pretty inefficient. Then the fact that they're writing information in, their handwriting sometimes not the best. They often forget to fill in data that's needed, or forget to take photos, or even if they do take photos, keeping those photos associated with the right job and the right paperwork can be a problem. If they've got to do calculations, they've got to get a calculator out, and that can be hard and inefficient. And generally, the paperwork would often get lost, just not make it back to the office. And then in the office people would have to rekey everything that the field technician had already done. That's pretty inefficient. And if there was something missing, or if they couldn't read that handwriting, then the back and forth with the field technicians is very inefficient. We've been told by the office staff that costing, pricing, and quoting can really be painful, and then keeping prices up to date in this crazy time is also a big issue. And then getting everything processed and invoiced in a timely manner is not great, and our solution can help with that. And then once everything's processed and done, if a customer calls in, finding the file or the paperwork for that particular job or customer can be an issue. And we believe our solution addresses all of that. So we developed JetTrac Field Service Automation for any kind of contractor that has field technicians that goes out to do their work. We customize the solution specific to the type of contractor. Today, we're going to be showing electrical contract, a solution specifically for electrical contractors, but we can customize it for any contractor by adding material lists, price books, and the office tools that are more specific to that type of contractor. All right, so how do we help? In the field, the field technician gets a job package that's pre-populated with all the data that we know and all the data that they need to do their job, all the information they need to do their job. the solution will work on any device and use the input capabilities of that device, things like speech to text. So, kind of get rid of that handwriting issue. Very easy to take photos, get a customer signature, add your job notes, and even do things like collect on site if that's something that you do. We also have the solution set up that it really works with a smart form. So if you're on a tablet and you're used to completing a form, your techs are used to completing a form, they can do the same sort of thing on a tablet. But we also have a mobile smartphone input capability that really works much better on a smartphone. And when they enter the data there, it completes the form in the background. And I know Dan will show you both, but he's going to concentrate on the smart form input method today. Finally, the solution will also work when you're offline. A lot of our customers have techs that go to places where there's no internet connectivity. So as long as they're connected in the morning, get all their job information, they go out into the field, it doesn't matter that they're not connected, the solution will work, and then they can submit it back. And as soon as they connect it again, it will come back into the office. All right, so in the office, we make scheduling, dispatching a whole lot easier, and then we have a shared calendar, so it's very easy to see where the field techs are, and if you need to move things around, you can do that quite easily. When the data or the form package from the tech comes back into the office, very easy to review what they've done, and with one click, you can process it all the way through to invoicing. So you'll see that. We do make costing, pricing, and quoting a whole lot easier. And the solution works for no matter what kind of work you're doing. If you're doing flat rate jobs or time and material jobs, long-term or contract jobs, we can handle that as well. And it just makes it easier for you to stay on top of everything and stay profitable. So JetTrac Field Service Automation syncs the field and the office together in a beautiful dance. And we take the pain out of field work and relieve the stress in the office. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Dan and to jump into the demonstration. And he's going to kind of play the role of a field technician, and then Cindy will play the role of the person in the office. Over to you, Dan.
Thank you, John. Okay, I am going to share my screen and make sure that you can see it. Can you see my screen okay?
I can see your screen, Dan.
Okay. So I just wanted to start with a quick view of scheduling and calendaring. So we can integrate with Google Calendar to have a shared calendar among a group of people, and each technician would have their own calendar. We can control exactly what goes into each calendar event, so they can have at their fingertips all the information that's necessary in that calendar. But where I'm going to start on my iPad, and I'm just going to hold up my iPad here. This is what I'm going to be working on first, and then I'm going to switch to my phone. So when we dispatch out a work order to the field, so it can be received in different ways. This way, I'm showing you just via email with a PDF attached. I already have that PDF loaded here. So here it is. So we have structured this PDF smart form interface to be very simple to collect all of the data that's necessary to complete a job out in the field. So I'm going to start actually with showing bookmarks. And so we have bookmarks here on the right-hand side, and I can then enter the materials that I have used in this job. So what I'm going to do is just scroll down to plates, and I'm just going to put a quantity of 3 plates there. I'm going to select plastic boxes, and I'm going to select, I'm going to enter 3 plastic boxes as well. I'm going to go to devices, and then just have, I'm going to put 2 devices there. And then let's say that I, as the technician, went to the hardware store because there was something that was needed at the job, but was not in my truck. So I could go down to this item not listed, and I could actually add something here. So I'm just going to say, three items that were $1 a piece, and let's say they were bulbs. Okay, now that I've entered these, I've only entered 4 items here. In a typical job, probably much more than that. I'm going to go in my bookmarks to what's called the tally sheet. So this is important because the technicians need to make sure that they record all of the materials that they use in a job, and if they don't, then the customer's not going to be billed for that, and there could be some profit leakage. So I'm just going to touch on tally sheet, and there are my 4 materials that I've used. So I can look at this. If I've forgotten something, I can go back and select more materials, or if I've entered one by mistake, I could go remove that until I am completely done with my materials. When I'm done, I'm going to just touch on cover page and go back here. So the next thing I may put in is my labor. So I'm going to just put in on the 4th of May, let's say that this first person did 8 hours and the second person did 2 hours. And I'm going to say the job is completed. So this checkbox right here, I'm just going to touch that on my iPad to let the office know. And this goes back to the tango, the dance between the office and the technician. All of these checkboxes and all the information here is how we're communicating between the office to the field technician and back to the office in a very efficient manner. The next thing I'm going to do is put in tech notes. So this is where I'm going to use speech to text instead of typing things. So I'm just going to touch my microphone here, and I'm just going to dictate some things. Replaced open splices in the basement for ceiling lights, period. New line. Checked out foyer lights and switches, period. New line. Checked out cafeteria lights and switches, period. New line. Checked out the living room receptacles and switches, period. New line. Fixed all connections, period. New line. Tightened all connections in main electrical panel, period. New line. Job complete, new line. So you see that's a very efficient way of entering, and our customers have told us this capability of speech to text, which can be done in both this interface and then our JetTrac mobile interface, lets the technicians do more accurate and complete job notes that can then flow back into the office, into that job. Cindy can talk about that a little bit more. Okay, so now that I've entered materials and labor, I'm just going to touch this calculate button, and then it brought in the materials, it brought in the labor, so we have a job total. If we wanted to collect on site, we now know how much we should collect. I'm now going to do a signature, so I'm just going to touch in the signature field and say I'm going to do a customer signature, so I'm playing the role now of the customer. So I'm just going to, with my finger, go Dan Roth and touch done, and that now is all ready to go. Let's say that I wanted to take some photos. So I could go to photos here, and I could just touch on one of these fields and take a photo. So I'm just going to take a photo of a monitor. I'm going to use that photo, and then I'm going to take another photo of my phone, use that photo, and then go back to the cover page. Okay, I think I am all ready to go now. So what I would normally do is submit, and this would then submit it back to the office, and Cindy's gonna pick that up. So what I just showed you was our JetTrac PDF Smart Forms capability for entering data. What I'm going to do now is just switch to my smartphone. So I am going to just stop sharing here, stop mirroring. Okay, and on my phone, I'm going to start mirroring on my phone. Okay, so is my phone that I'm going to be using. And the first thing I'm going to do is just bring up just a sample of what we call a JetTrac mobile interface. So this is a mobile field sheet. So we have job and customer information. This is the same information that was in the PDF form. And by the way, once I fill this out and submit it, then all this information is going to go into that same PDF form on the server. And so then the document of record for that job will look just like it did if you filled out the PDF form. So we have these two different ways that we can capture the data. So I can expand just like I did and then collapse different sections of data. So let's say I want to enter some time. And so I've got 7 hours there. I've got 3 hours for the second worker. I've got job notes here. So these would be the notes that the office would send as to what I, as the field technician, would need to do when I'm doing this job. There could be legal notices that are important for the customer to review and agree to. There's check boxes. So this goes back to what I was saying a couple minutes ago of how the technician can communicate back to the office. Is this job completed? Do we need to do a follow-up? Do we want to send an invoice, to the customer or to somebody else? Are we collecting on site? I can capture the check number. Are we collecting by credit card? Do we need to order materials? So all of these things then triggers certain things to happen then on the server. Then we have totals here that would be filled in. We can take photos. So I'm just going to add a photo here, take a photo, and I'll just take a photo of that monitor, use that, and it shows there, and this would flow as well. I could add a signature here, so I'll just put that. So that is everything but the material list. So what I'm going to do now is go to where you record your materials. So this allows you to search for materials. So let's say I'm going to go into Find, and I want to be able to, let's say I'm putting in a ceiling fan brace. So I'm just going to touch my microphone. Ceiling fan brace. And it went right to the ceiling fan brace, and then I can put in the quantity that I use for that, or let's say that I know the item number. So I'll just go back to my Find. 29621. And it goes right to 29621. I can put in my quantity. Or let's say I want to go to a section. So anything that's in yellow here, like we're seeing breakers right now, these are sections. So let's say I want to go to a certain section and then select a material from that section. Cans and lamps. Okay, so it went to the section, cans and lamps, and I can scroll through, find the one I want. Let's say it's a 75 watt, whatever. I can put in my materials. This then is transmitted back to the office, and there's a way that you can then see the equivalent of the tally sheet in the PDF form to make sure that you have captured everything, and then we calculate the total materials. If you're collecting on site, then you can add the total materials in to get the grand total that the customer would need to pay. So I showed you very quickly these two interfaces. So the assumption is that the PDF form that I filled out has been submitted back to the office. And I'm now going to turn it over to Cindy, and she's going to show you what happens when that comes back into the office. So Cindy, I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. Perfect. All yours.
Okay, good. Well, from the point of view of the office, what we're hearing from our customers is they just can't live without it because bills are getting out faster, the accuracy of the jobs, no lost paperwork. That's the beauty of the mobile field sheet, whether you use the PDF one or the phone one. So they both work the same, and they both interface with Job Master Pro the same way, which is great. So what we're looking at here is the import field sheet window. So in this list here, these are all the mobile field sheets that have come in that have not been processed yet. And so we're going to process one with one click, and you're going to see everything that happened with that one click. So before I do that, I want to show you the log that comes with this. This is one of the best parts of this. And if you talk to any office person who does this work, what they will tell you is this log is so valuable to them, because now they know when a mobile field sheet went out and whether or not it came back in or not. And so there's never any lost paperwork. We can do things like highlighting a bunch of these where the date wasn't, where it wasn't received, and they can click the email technicians button here, and they will receive on their devices a nice message that you haven't received the paperwork for those jobs yet, which is really cool. So this invaluable log here ensures that you're not going to lose any jobs. So back to the import screen, when I double click on an incoming mobile field sheet, we can see all the information that was recorded on the device. So at this point, all I really need to do with one click is click on Post to Job, and all the data entry is done. And remember that the prices for the material are up to date in the Job Master Pro, because we have many ways of keeping prices up to date, so we never have to worry about that. Don't have to look up items, none of that. It's all done. So let's take a look at the job and see what happened with that one click. First of all, Job Master Pro is a job cost system from its core. So we can see the job costs and the charges based on what we imported to the job. We haven't billed anything yet. So looking more deeply into this, we're going to look at the job notes. Now, the beauty of the job notes is twofold here. On the left, the job notes keep appending on to the job. So if there are multiple people working on the same job, we know who did the job or that part of the job, so we have a reference to go back to if there's an issue with that job. But we get an entire history of who did what when, which is very valuable. Now at the right, if we want, we can have these notes also go out on a customer invoice. And what we've heard from our customers using this is that because the guys don't have to handwrite anything, right? They're being a lot more detailed in their descriptions of what they did. And that in turn minimizes or eliminates customer complaints about what the guys did. So this is very valuable. Job cost. Okay, the documents. Whenever we send in a mobile field sheet, it also gets stored in what we call our document center. And so if there's any question about a particular mobile field sheet, even after the fact, in a few seconds, we will be able to see the mobile field sheet exactly how the guys sent it in. So we will always have that for reference down the road if we need it. And if there are pictures on it, we actually strip out the pictures separately in case those need to be forwarded to another tech. So if one tech did part of the job and they need to send the next guy who's picking up the job pictures of what happened before or possible liabilities, that, you know, up to 8 pictures can be taken on the mobile field sheet. So those can be stored. They can be emailed out to somebody else. Now, all of the detail for the job automatically imports into these 3 screens: the material screen, the labor screen, and the direct. So there's all the material. If at this point I needed to make any changes to this before I bill it, I certainly can do that. So everything is editable if need be. And then lastly, the profit preview. This is probably the single most used report in the Job Master Pro, because what it allows our customers to do is to see the profitability on this part of the job that is going to be on the next invoice for the job. So if again, they need to make any changes to the job before they do an invoice, this can be printed or viewed on screen. You know, the idea again is that we don't want to miss items either in the field or in the office. And this gives you total control over any job that you do to ensure accuracy and ensure you're making the money on the job that you want. So at this point, we would be ready to bill the job, but I think this is where we are done with this part of the presentation.
All right, thanks, Cindy. I'll grab it back.
Mm-hmm.
And so share, there we go. So we're going to move along. All right, so just at this point, I'm just going to quickly say we're coming close to the half an hour. We're going to keep going for another 5 or 6 minutes and leave a little bit of time for questions. So hopefully everybody can stay, but I just want to be respectful that if you do need to drop off, you can always get hold of us and we can get you a recording of this to watch the last few minutes, because we're bumping up. All right, so the benefits of the JetTrac Field Service Automation really is that the tech is going to get a complete pre-populated package, so you can do his work in the field far more easily. You can have required fields, so you can't submit the job back unless he's completed some data that you know is very important. You can have calculation fields, so he doesn't have to take his calculator out. It can all that be done for you. And we're really eliminating that double data entry, both in the field. He doesn't have to fill in stuff that we already know, the customer name and the facility and that type of thing. That's pre-populated. But also in the office, that data goes straight through. The office staff don't have to rekey everything. We obviously, if you're using paper and you go to the system, we're eliminating all the issues that you have with paper. And we're making costing, pricing, and quoting a whole lot easier. And we're managing your jobs and your inventory and your labor a whole lot more easily. So we're really just increasing the efficiency, saving time and money, improving the quality of that data, and increasing the productivity of both your field and office staff. And all of that helps to drive revenue, make you profitable, and increase customer satisfaction. All right, so we've covered a lot in a short time. We only had half an hour, but we have a lot more that we can show, you know. Do you need to know where your field techs are at all times? Do you need to move them around because things change? What about if you need to do proposals in the field? Dan showed you a little bit of time tracking, but what happens if you need more enhanced time tracking? We've got that. Do you get deliveries on site? Do you need to have your POs and things work on site? We can handle that. Inventory and tool tracking, we can handle that. What about if your tech is on site somewhere and he needs to dispatch some work to himself because the next door neighbor runs and says, hey, I've got an emergency with my, I have no power. Can you come and do it for me? And he needs to dispatch a job out so that he can kind of handle it. We can do that. We're a custom forms company and we're a software company. So we can really, if you say, hey, I've got a paper form that I'm using today that I need to kind of make part of the system, we can turn that into an electronic form and hopefully make it work with the system as well. So let us know what your needs are and we can show you how we do it. And also let us know if there's any particular parts of the solution that you want to see in future webinars. The same thing applies to the office side of things, the Job Master Pro side. We can do so much more. I know a lot of our customers are very interested in the certified payroll, people that have union shops. That's a big part of it. We can show you how we handle that and make that easier. We can do AP, general ledger, PO, inventory control, tool tracking, estimating. All of this stuff is part of the system. We just didn't have time to show you today. So let us know what your needs are and we can show you how we can help with that. And also let us know what future webinars you're interested in seeing. So speaking of that, we've already got 2 that we've planned on Wednesday, May 25th at 10:30 Pacific time. We're going to do a more in-depth look at how the field tech will do his work in the field and kind of drill down. Dan did that very quickly today. We'll spend a whole half an hour kind of really getting into that. And then on June 15th at 10:30, we'll take a deeper dive into how we help in the office. Maybe we'll get into some of that price book management and contract job management, how you can keep your prices up to date, show you costing, pricing, and quoting, maybe get a little deeper into the scheduling and dispatch and the shared calendar and how you move that stuff around and send out reminders to your customers and that type of thing. So those are 2 that we've got coming up. So we'd love to get you back. We'll send out invites as well. But also, please let us know what you want to see, and we'll go from there. All right. If you have any questions now, and you still have a few minutes, I know we've just bumped over the hour, over the half an hour a little bit. We're a couple minutes over. But if anybody has questions, just unmute yourself and let us know, or you can even type them in the chat. I don't really see anything there. But if there's questions, now's the time to jump in. Anybody have a question? All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to say thanks for coming, everyone. Here is my contact information. As I said, this has been recorded. If you want a copy of it, we can get that out to you. We'll probably email a link to everybody that attended, and then you'll also have my contact information, but you also have that in the emails invites that you got. But we'll send out a link to the recording to everybody that attended, and those that signed up that didn't attend, they'll get a recording link. So just wanted to say thank you. Oops, I do see a question. Give me a second here. Okay. Yeah, Gary, I'll reach out to you directly, and we'll pick up. Thanks. Okay, so thanks everybody for coming, and please remember to come back to our upcoming webinars on the 25th and the 15th, and let us know what other webinars you'd like to see, how we can help you be more efficient and profitable in your electrical contracting business. Thanks everybody. Bye.